Monday. We got a fun live stream today. You guys are popping off in the chat already. Shoot, a couple new folks in there. Todd, hey, I always shout out people that have never commented before. So thank you for tuning in, and let's chat, because motorsports graphics always have crazy colors. So there's some specific things I would direct you in. Maybe extended color gamut machines with like fluorescence, because you're going to need it for motorsports. I don't know what it is about motorsports. They love their bright fluorescent colors. Jonathan's commented like 67 times, so I'll just pick one of your comments today. And Repro Graphics, I don't know if you've commented before, so thank you. And I see you had a started out with the digital heat effects. I was actually working on one of those, that exact machine this week in Kansas City. So, but then he got switched over to the Epson G6070. I actually just had a consult call with somebody that had a G6070. Most everyone's been pretty pleased with those. So yeah. Justin, I don't think you've ever commented on one of my videos before, so thank you for being here, tuning in. I mean, I don't know what to call you. BBKN, right? All right. So, lots of people hopping in. I had a great weekend. I had a great week. Ended my week in Canada. First time I've gone out of the country, and first time I've been to that part of Canada. And I now have an Oilers jersey. The shop I was at, they gave me an Oilers jersey, which Edmonton's further north in Calgary, but they're Edmonton Oiler fans. So I'm now an Edmonton Oiler fan, apparently. So so I can calibrate it. Colors were great. The alignment was not happy. It was kept falling out of alignment, which was driving me and them a little bit nuts. We can talk more about that later. But Lana, what's happening? 1,000 jerseys. Let's go. Due by Friday. Well, you got time, right? 1,000? Yeah, you got time. Megan, hello. Terry, hello to you as well. Terry's local. Terry's up in Carefree, Cave Creek, North Phoenix area. Dana, what's happening? Let's be honest, guys. Like, I really am torn on who's going to win this today, because some of y'all I really want to win because you're close, or because I like you. So, yep. All right, let's see. Goodness grace. Okay, I'm probably not going to be able to just pop up all of these, so I will do one more. Mike, what's happening? All right, so I am going to do the drawing, but I want to cover something that I've come across recently a couple times, and I don't have a video covering it. So if you've never been on a live stream, usually what we do here, little banter back and forth, but we already have so many people watching that we'll just get into it. But normally on the live stream, we cover a topic that either I have chosen or a topic that I see a lot of questions about in the DTF forums. So normally we kind of hit a topic, then we open it up to color profile or to questions, and we let the thing just kind of roll with it. So this week, the plan is I'm going to cover this quick little topic. It's fairly fast. Then we'll get into the drawing, and then we'll open it up to questions. So if you're just here for the drawing, it'll come very soon. But if you're here to get your questions answered, get those questions in the chat and we will cover them. So these last 2 weeks, I was in 6 different shops, 3 up along the Eastern Seaboard, couple in Kansas City, and then Calgary, and or actually Lethbridge, which is south of Calgary. But almost all of the shops, bar maybe 1 or 2, asked me questions about halftoning and getting it dialed in for their printer. And the one thing I haven't really covered with halftoning is how you tweak with it specifically for your machine, because every machine behaves a little differently. Some machines, their alignment is like dead on, like the Mamakis and the Rolands and probably the G6070, the Epson. Their alignment is like perfect. and it holds it well. And when that's the case, you can go with really, really small dots with very little choke. So if you have a machine that you have to choke a bit because your alignment's a little funky, you want to go with a little bit larger dot sizes. And how you do that is by adjusting the frequency. So let's hop over to Photoshop, and I'm going to show you guys. Obviously, I'm not going to go through all the steps like slowly because I have videos on all these steps, but I want to show you the part where you want to test and tweak with your printer. So when we go to halftone image, first of all, anybody else seen the new season of Stranger Things? I watched it on my flights this week. So good stuff. But we're going to duplicate our layer as we do with halftoning. We're going to duplicate into a new document. And we're going to go image mode grayscale. And FYI, if you have trouble with this, with going to like the bitmap, check and make sure you're in 8-bit. I hear a lot of people that run across stuff and are just like, it's not working. And sometimes it's because their stuff is in 16-bit. Anyway, we're going to do our levels adjustment. We know this is how we blow out our image to make sure we get more brightness and vibrancy, where we're just half toning the transitions. We're not half toning a whole bunch of the colors. And then we're going to do image mode bitmap. Now, this is the section where, right here, where you're going to want to change your settings. If you have a printer that really struggles with alignment, or like a multi-head, like a 6-head or something like that, and you need to choke your white in a little bit to make sure it's not peeking out, these are the settings you're going to want to tweak with. So what I would do is I would change your frequency. Normally I say between 30 and 40. The higher the frequency, the smaller the dots it's going to create. And so if you want to test maybe a larger dot size, I would maybe go to 30, which is the low end of what I think you should do. As you go much lower, you will kind of create more of a visual, it'll tweak with it visually. It won't look quite as clean as if it were smaller dots. So it will create a more of a stylized. That's the word I'm looking for. It creates more of a stylized effect. So just be careful you don't go too far. So what I would do is I would try starting at 30. That's going to create some little bit bigger halftone dots. And I'm actually going to go a little bit lower than that. So I'm going to go 25, which again, bigger halftone dots. And I'll actually show you a comparison between the normal settings I use and this setting. And actually, that is a great question. The image appears to be 600 DPI. No, sorry. I'm reading like 4 comments. The DPI is at 300 on this. If you set your DPI to 600, which I've not gone in and done like a deep dive on if it's actually beneficial to do 600, but at 600 DPI, you would, I believe it's halve all of these or double all these numbers. Mike, if you know, or Justin, or John, sorry, Mike, if you know, have you done a 600 DPI halftone? You will have to adjust your frequency if you're doing 600. I default to 300 because I don't think there's a real big benefit going any higher than that. So anyway, let's do that at 25. I'm going to select all, copy it, head back over here, and we're going to create a layer mask. Hold down Option or Alt, paste it, and there's our halftone image. Now, I'm going to zoom in, and this is the new one we just made. And this is the old one I made. So see how it makes a lot of these really, really small dots? And if I go to here, we have generally bigger dots involved. So when I did my testing and decided that 30 to 40 was a kind of a good number, that was based on the visual appearance. But like I said, if you're having trouble with your white underbase aligning well, you can just simply make the dots a little bit bigger by reducing that frequency. So if you have more questions, feel free to ask them. But that's really, so you just want to test different frequency sizes for larger dots and then print it. A lot of printing. I can't tell you how many images I printed when I was testing all those settings when back in the day when I was doing it. And that's kind of where I landed on the 30 to 40 was kind of ideal. But if you struggle with aligning the white underbase and you need a bigger dot to make sure more of the dots have some white underbase behind it, that's a great way to do it. And there are lots of different plugins out there that can help you do that. One of them is commenting in there right now, but I don't always shamelessly plug and promote on here necessarily. Now, I will say, so for those of you who don't watch often, all of my live streams are sponsored by DTF Station. That's the printer right back there, Prestige R2 Pro, which Todd. So basically, they partner with me with my YouTube channel. They let me speak freely. That's one of the top things that I said is like, if we're going to do some kind of agreement, I need to be able to speak freely about a lot of stuff. But this week I saw a few machines that had major struggles and they were having trouble getting good tech support or chasing their tail. And a lot of it's because a lot of resellers in the US are reselling machines that they're getting from China, rebadging it as their own name, and they don't really have any control over the manufacturing process or what's being done. DTF Station is the manufacturer, and this is a big differentiation I need to make oftentimes, is that they are not just white labeling. They're not just taking something from China and rebadging it. They control the manufacturing facility. So there are features, functions inside this machine that are not in other machines because they are the manufacturer. The beauty of that is when you go for tech support, you can talk to people who actually developed, manufactured the machine. And when it comes to recommending machines, I really struggle recommending machines that are white labeled because you just don't know what's going to happen. Because the reseller doesn't have any control over the actual manufacturing process. So I partner with DTF Station with these YouTube videos and live streams because they are a good option that I can offer, I can recommend. I had somebody call me once and said, "Hey, what printer should I buy from Alibaba?" And I would say none of them. Not because you can't find something on there and can't have a good experience potentially, but there's a huge risk there. And that's why I partner with DTF Station. That's why I recommend their machines, is because I have confidence that you're going to be able to get a good product and have the ability to get support on it, where you won't get that necessarily buying directly from China. There are some people that have had great experiences, but I've also know a lot of folks that have giant doorstops that they bought from China. So anyway, all that said, let me see. So somebody did comment. Oh, whoops. Sorry, Frank, I'll get you back on there. 30 frequency on 600 and 300 gives you the exact same size. Interesting. Because when I forget to do it at 72 DPI, like when I forget to change the image to from 72 to 300, I have to adjust the frequency. So interesting. Let's see. 200 DPI is much better edge quality of the dots. In fact, they may not let you use. Interesting. All right. Looks like I'm going to have to do a deep dive at some point on if 600 DPI is necessary or beneficial, or what it does differently. So thank you, Dan Campbell. I will look into that. All right. Okay, so I was just making sure I didn't have a question there I needed to just immediately dive onto. All right, so let's get into it. If you have questions, anything DTF related, or quite frankly, whatever, sometimes we get off the rails on this live stream, feel free to get your questions in the comments. Julio, thanks. Let's do it. Let's do the drawing. Are you guys excited? Now, I will say, I had to go in and clean up the drawing a little bit because there were some people from outside of the country that registered, and I can't I can't I can't go to South Africa or to Belize. Sorry, guys. All right, so without further ado and pomp and circumstance and all the other things, we're going to do it live on here. So I've not used this plugin exactly. I know what it should look like and what it should do, but let's see what happens. Drum roll, please, and make sure when the winner gets announced, you congratulate them in the chat. But here we go. Draw a winner from all entrants. One winner. Somebody's going to get me at their house or their shop, depending on where you work. Here we go. Oh, geez. A 10-second countdown? I thought it was going to be a 5-second countdown. All right, here we go. 5, 4, 1. And who's our winner? Matt Areba. Congratulations. I don't know you. So this is fantastic. All right. Florida. Looks like I'm going to Florida, guys. Looks like I'm going to Florida. All right, Matt. I'm going to be reaching out. You guys have my party light? I was giving off that John Hamm meme vibe. All right, well, and you still are interested in having me come out, reach out to me. We can get your colors dialed in. I know that Crystal Torres, she's in the live stream. I was at her shop this last week or 2 weeks ago. Yeah, they had a good printed really nicely, and we got a really good profile, and they've been really, really happy with it. So anyway, congratulations. And I'm going to be going to Port St. Lucie, Florida. I don't know where that is yet exactly, but we're going to find out soon. And yeah, I'll be reaching out, Matt, and then the rest of y'all. Questions. If you got questions, let's get them in. So you're burning questions you've always wanted to ask me. You've never had me in front of you to ask. So do me a favor and ask. And FYI, if you guys are local, like to Phoenix metro area, I don't charge a travel fee. So you do get a bonus from me if you live in the Phoenix metro area, where I can come out a lot cheaper. I don't have to pay for flights and all that jazz. But yeah, so go ahead and get your questions in the comments if you guys have questions. If not, I will sweet. Designer TMT. I don't know who that is, but thank you for commenting. This last week was probably my last week of travel. I might go to Port St. Lucie between now and the new year. We will see. But this year has been crazy. Oh, hi, Whitney. Whitney is a designer at Tease Me Tease, and she is a ball of happiness, honestly. Like, loved working with her, and she does a live stream on their Facebook group. It's great. It's wonderful. Top tier content right there. All right, I'm gonna have to read these comments later. So if you guys have questions, let me know. But yeah, so this year, I have to be honest with you guys, starting this whole thing on my own, and it's really funny because there's still some people that don't realize I'm not at DTF Superstore anymore because I have all these videos out there, right? So DTF Superstore still has all of my videos. They're obviously DTF Superstore videos. I got no problem with that, and they're there. I want to help the community, so I don't have a problem that they're there. But there's still a lot of folks that don't realize I'm not at DTF Superstore anymore. But when I started this on my own, I really didn't know what to expect because there really wasn't anybody doing what what I'm doing or what I was intending to do. And my wife and I, as we kind of decided to do this, was kind of like, well, let's give it a few months and see if it works. If not, I can go get a job with someone else in the industry because there were some opportunities. But I felt like I could help out the community better and do more for the DTF community being on my own, which has very much been the case because I think there were some limitations. Anytime you work with a specific dealer or distributor, you kind of have some limitations where I've not had those limitations. So, but getting started, I know a lot of you, even some shops I've been to were like, hey, we hired you. We're like, not sure because we've had some other people say they can do this and it kind of goes sideways. But I just thank you. This community as a whole has been amazing. The amount of work that I've done this year has been shocking. I'd never anticipated there would be quite this much demand. But I also recognize that there's a big gaping hole in quality of color and the variances from different machines and stuff like that. So I just want to say a big, huge, massive thank you to everyone in this industry. Oh, and I totally forgot. I have a special guest coming on next week. I meant to say it before the giveaway, and I forgot. I have a special guest coming on next week. Somebody who says I'm wrong, and I love being challenged. It's a good friend. I've been to a shop. It's in Belmar, New Jersey. But he's going to be on the live stream next week. I don't know if you guys remember last week I mentioned that I've not seen successful deconstructions of printhead and put it back together, like replacing the manifold and stuff like that. He said I'm wrong. So he's going to demo next week how to replace the manifold that's inside of an i3200 printhead. He's actually going to take one from his graveyard and show you guys how to do it. So yeah, I totally forgot to say that. So I needed to say that. My wife is truly grateful. Yeah, you guys have been amazing this year, and I'm probably, aside from Port St. Lucie, going to take the rest of the year off to make some videos because I've been traveling so much. Don't make as many videos as I want to. So, but I have been insanely blessed by this community this year. That's why I wanted to do some kind of giveaway, was to just kind of give back to this community as a whole. So you guys have been absolutely amazing, and I appreciate you so much. You guys won't completely understand. So, all right, let me get back into some of you had some questions. Todd's got some questions about the R2 Pro. So let's answer. Let me just double check. I don't have more questions earlier than that. Okay, sweet. All right, so is the R2 Pro one of the best desktop printers out there, or blah, 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 blah? So it's a desktop printer. I use air quotes on it because it's big. I mean, it's not humongous, but it's heavy. It's like 100 something pounds. I barely was able to lift it onto the table myself. I did do it by myself though. So footprint wise, my studio space is 12 by 12. So this back wall here is 12 feet and the depth in my studio is 12 feet. So if that gives you an indication of kind of how much space it takes up, it's not a lot. I would say it's approximately, if you got like 4 foot wide and then like 6 or 7 feet deep, you're going to be perfectly set for it. And if you buy, DTF Station offers these little cases that they will sit on, like these little storage, like they got storage space for powder and ink and stuff like that. They're made specifically for the printer and dryer shaker. They sit them lower to the ground. That's why I didn't do it. I need higher for my videos, higher for my, like if it was any lower, you wouldn't see it sitting over my shoulder. I literally built that table to make sure the printer sat above my shoulder. So, so yeah, so I think they're the best desktop option. And speed wise, you're not giving up much because it is 2 i1600 print heads. So it's pretty fast. Oh, Julio. I feel your pain like you would not believe right now. One of the shops I was at in the last couple of weeks, constantly chasing their alignment. So if you are kind of feel like you're chasing your alignment, you need to make sure a couple things. One, you need to make sure your feed rate. So in the case of Print EXP, the Y motor calibration is accurate. I've covered it on the live streams before, but just in case you don't know where it's at, it's in the advanced settings, and advanced settings is 6.1s, and it's this Y motor. And basically what you have to do is you mark a spot on the film, move it 100 millimeters, then use a ruler to measure how, and like mark the film again, and use the ruler to measure that distance. And if it's anything other than 100, you put that number in here. So if it's like less than it, it's like 99 millimeters, you put that in and you hit calculate. That is going to properly calibrate your Y motor, basically what feeds out the film, properly calibrate that. Then after you've calibrated that, you need to go in and do all of your calibrations, except for maybe head install. Head install just has to do with like the orientation of the head, like if it's twisted a little bit. But you want to start with step calibration. You want to do step calibration, and you want to do head calibration and bidirectional. If you're changing the type of film you're using, you need to do all of these, including the Y motor calibration. But if you're just like from one roll of film to the other, start with step calibration and work your way down. You don't need to do the channel calibration or the color adjust. Depends on every version. Print EXP is a little bit different. You don't need to do the color adjust often. I think it's a good thing for like if you have a lot of graininess. But yeah, and then if it's still off, you can try manually moving it, like not using necessarily the calibration steps, but like just manually moving it. But yeah, if people have some other tips or tricks, I'm open for them, open to hear them. It's sometimes machines are just, they just misbehave. And also, if you do those calibrations, it does seem to fix it. Turn off the machine, close Print EXP, shut down the computer, restart everything, and sometimes it'll work again. Like, I'm not kidding you. There have been shops where I'm like, it's not behaving like I think it should. I turn everything off, turn it back on, and it works right. So go figure. Herein lies part of the problems we have with our industry, right? So I think I mentioned the footprint size. Roughly, I think if you give yourself 4 foot, a 6 foot, 6 foot's going to be a hair on the tight side, but you could probably get away with it at 6 foot. You are welcome, Todd. So he's going to show how to like replace the manifold. He's going to explain why he chose to do that, or why he felt the need to do it, and what benefit it had for him. He's been doing DTF since like 2020, like very early days. So he's very, very strong in his knowledge base. So what? What do you mean Neo Stamp is on point? Like when you print out a Neo Stampa, the alignment's correct, but when you print out a Digital Factory, it's wrong? Is that what you're saying, Julio? Because that's crazy. Like that shouldn't. That should be the case. I mean, because we're just creating PRNs. Really? Julio, do you print over like TCP over IP? Are you printing directly from, or are you creating a PRN file or PRT file and then loading it into Print EXP? Which way are you doing it? Really, guys? Okay, let me know in the chat, like what printers are you guys using specifically? Because I have not personally seen this. I did see recently a shop where when they printed TCP over IP, they had some weird behavior in the way it was jetting, like the magenta was funky. And then when they printed via like just using a PRN file or PRT file, it was fine. So I have seen that before. It's one of the reasons I don't generally recommend printing TCP over IP because it can cause issues. It doesn't always. Sometimes it works perfectly fine, but I've seen issues from printing TCP over IP. But yeah, let me know which machines you guys have. Julio, you've probably mentioned at some point which machine you have, but in the comments, let me know which machines you guys have because I'm very intrigued by this. That the alignment would be spot on in Neo, but not because really the alignment shouldn't. Okay. It's on it. Okay. It's on an okay. Okay. Yeah, I know you're not the only person. That's crazy. How have I not heard this or thought? Because really the alignment should be purely based on the printer, not on the PRN file that's coming in. I'm going to have to look into this and ask some questions of people that maybe know more than me. Mike, that is very, very true and accurate. I just realized who won. I know the guy who won. I do know the guy who won. I just realized I do know the guy who won. And he's going to be very, very happy because he's wanted me to come out before. Really? You guys have just opened a little bit of a rabbit hole for me to go down. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm going to have to investigate why the alignment is different for different rips. I wonder if I can get it to do that here. Probably not, because I've seen I don't seem to have alignment issues with my printer here. So I'll have to ask around. Rocco, if you're still in the stream, well, I guess have you used anything different? I do love rabbit holes, but sometimes they distract me from the things I need to work on. Don't we all want to be happy? I think that's we all want to be happy. If I can make everyone happy, I would. You know what? I tell you what. If I win the Powerball $1 billion thing, I'll just come out to all your shops that are in here right now. As far as I know, yes, it will. I don't know if they have a specific driver for the Ricoma. Let's look and see. Let's see. I say probably because the Ricoma is still just a Chinese machine. I believe the Ricoma is using Hosensoft. If it's not, let me know. But let's see. Device, manage devices, add device, Ricoma. Does anybody else? Am I the only one that says Ricoma like the Ricola commercials? I'm probably dating myself. 240 ZT. 240. Nah, it's not showing up in here, but I would be willing to venture a guess that it will. So, Mike, if it does use Hosensoft, just try a random Hosensoft driver, like legit. When I'm doing Neo Stampa, oftentimes there's only like 2 or 3 drivers that I use, and I use them on like everything because they work on like everything. Don't make me blush, Julio. Don't make me blush. It does, yeah. So I would just use any other kind of like standard 2-head, 4-head, whatever. Actually, a lot of times the driver doesn't really matter. You just need to make sure that you can put the ink order in the right order. I'd also just try the UCD, the universal control driver. I would maybe try that because I think you'll be able to find something in there that will work. But the fact that it's hosting, I guarantee there's a driver that will work for it. One of the things that makes NeoStampa a little bit easier to like try on different machines is that you can control the ink order. Like in any driver, I can move the ink order around with like any driver. So like you can just basically say print it and it shows you what ink order it does. And then you just line NeoStampa to that ink order. So interesting. RIP software calculates the edge if they don't know if all the same maths. Yeah. I wonder, Julio, how many heads is your machine? Because I wonder if like it has to do with like number of heads or like arrangement of heads. I mean, again, it shouldn't, right? It shouldn't. The alignment stuff is all baked into Printing XP. So why is it driving me nuts? Sorry, I should have followed up. XP 600 or i3200 or something else. What kind of print head is in it? Yeah, so also like as I'm waiting for his answer. It is weird. If you XP 600 question, the other folks that are having this problem, is it with XP 600s or is it with other print heads? You guys got my wheels turning now. Now I want to know. You know what I might do? I might create some like default like PRN, PRT files and like have people try. I could do that. I could create like an alignment graphic and then just rip it in Digital Factory, rip it in NeoStampa. I could probably get access to a couple of like cheap rips and see, and then have people just go out and test it. Because that's part of the problem, right? Like when I'm testing, like I'm just testing on this machine. And that's why I like really need the community to help me test stuff sometimes, because I want to make sure it works like across the board, not just in my little bubble here. So, yeah, you guys got me thinking. Let's see. What else? Oh, that friend that's coming on next week. He oftentimes sends me notes after after live streams where either I blew his mind or he disagrees with me. So I want to encourage disagreement. So if you think that I'm off on something I've said, let me know. Now, one of the things that I am trying to do, and I was trying to do it back at Superstore as well, but I'm trying to give some standardization for this industry of ours that has no standardization. The shop I was in, one of the shops I was in the last couple of weeks, they were testing two different films. And one of the films he didn't like the way it peeled. Well, they were pressing it 320 Fahrenheit. And I said, well, go down to 290 and see what it does. And all of a sudden it peeled like butter. So I think a lot of folks are like pressing too hot. But I always give like ranges. I'm like, hey, try this, but if you need to adjust, you can. It's really hard because there's so many variables, and just because something works in one specific shop doesn't mean it's going to work everywhere else, which is why I like to have multiple people test stuff to see how it pans out. One other thing I found interesting, and I always knew that the film can affect the color, but usually where I was coming from with that was that you'd have like an issue of like flooding. If the ink absorbing layer wasn't as good, you might have it flood really bad. But recently I was testing, we built a profile on one film and then tried to build it on the other film that was not as vibrant when they printed on it. And We built a profile. It was good, but not really vibrant. And so I tried pushing the ink limits a little bit more, like pushing the ink harder, like having it lay down a little bit more, trying to create more saturation. And it got better. So then I tried to push it a little bit more, and it stopped getting better. Like it wasn't giving me any more saturation. So I still need to analyze the data and see if I can figure out what else we can try to see if we can push that film more. But there is a possibility that the film just cannot give me any more vibrancy. And I know there's a couple of companies out there that are talking about like having a color boost film or something like that, or a color like better color. I still think profiling is the ultimate, like, we'll decide if it can do it or not kind of thing. But yeah, there may be some films out there that just can't reproduce as saturated or vibrant of results. So, but it was literally most of the time when I'm doing multiple profiles, it's multiple machines. This was actually one of the first times I've done in the moment multiple profiles or multiple films on one machine. So there may be some other things I can push to try to get more vibrancy out of that film, but I'll keep you guys posted on that. But if you're really struggling with vibrancy, and especially you're building your own profiles and stuff like that, it could be a film issue. Here's my feeling on this. I don't think the film, because I don't believe that the temperature for pressing is the film. It's more of like the more important factor is what you're pressing it on, because you don't ever want to do a poly at 320. You're going to get so much dye migration, it's not even funny. And the way that a film peels has way more to do with the interaction of the adhesive powder and that particular film. Because if your adhesive powder doesn't cool relatively quickly, an instant peel will never work right. Because an instant peel, the idea is that you release it like immediately. And if your powder doesn't cool enough to grab onto the shirt, then that peel won't work quite right. If they say 320 for 9 seconds, try it and see how it works. But ultimately, I want to be able to use a film on like every fabric type. And if I'm doing a poly, I need to go lower on a poly. So I would test your film all the way down to like 200. Like, sorry, 220. There's a couple powders. I know the Flex powder from Color Prime, which is DTF Stations stuff. That I can get to press down to 220 and it holds up. Like I do have it right here. I have it right here. This one of these. So this one says 280, but I didn't do it at 280. I knew I didn't need to do 280, but this was at 220. And it is, and I washed it like 10 times. And it is like it held up super, super well. So you can get some powders that will behave really nicely at lower temps. But again, it has to do with the peeling has to do with the interaction between the adhesive powder and the film. I do think some films, like you're actually kind of breaking down the release layer when you press it too hot. So yeah. I like 290. I also like 290 because that's what T-Seal uses. And I like T-Seal. That being said, I'm testing some new things. A benefit of being in shops is I see some creative stuff to press with. And there was one particular second press material that I kind of liked. I've ordered it. It's going to be in my house this week. Maybe I'll talk about it on live stream next week, but I'm going to try it. I'm also going to try a couple other ones as well. And because I need to do a release, I need to do another video on my hierarchy of softness series. And the next video is second press material. So I need to test a couple different ones. So that's coming in. Is there a clear difference between the i3200A1 dampers, clear, light blue circle, pink circle, red circle on the damper? Yes, there are differences. To my knowledge, the fact that there's like different circles and there's different manufacturing, I don't think there's any difference specifically in those dampers. However, there are some larger size dampers. There's some like oversized ones, and those are good because they give you a little more reservoir right above the print head. The ones that I use, the ones that go with the DTF station, they work for. They work on any i3200, i1600, but I like them because they're a little lower profile, so they're not sticking up, and because especially when you have multiple heads, it gets messy in there. But it also has a little bit bigger circular like reservoir area, so I really kind of like these ones. Some people don't because when you're pushing on them, they like to tilt, but I just push on them here. But I feel like they take up less vertical room in the carriage, and so I like these style. But depending on where you order from, you're going to get some different qualities. So I would just find a good source and just source them from there. So I hear some films have good. Here is my ultimate dilemma for you end users is that everybody's just white labeling. Let me rephrase that. Most people are just white labeling. So they're taking something coming from China, rebadging it, or even coming from Europe and rebadging it as their own thing. So we don't know exactly what the film is, which is why you guys will not see me recommend anything that I cannot trace back to the manufacturer. And this has been a bit of a sore subject for some dealers out there, some of you that might be watching right now. The reason I won't recommend a lot of dealers specifically, like I won't tell you to go to XYZ dealer for something, because I don't know where it is, where it's from. So when I recommend ink, I'm recommending DuPont, Color Prime, and Ink Bank because I know exactly where it's coming from. It's coming from the manufacturer. Color Prime is DTF stations. It comes from their a factory in Korea that they partner with. They are controlling the manufacturing process. DuPont, they are controlling the manufacturing process. They make it. Ink Bank controls the manufacturing process, and you can find Ink Bank. Now, there are a lot of inks out there that are Ink Bank, just rebadged as something else, but I can't know for sure who's what. So that's why I will only recommend the manufacturer. With film, it's the same thing. I cannot just recommend something from XYZ supplier because I don't know where it's coming from. And if you have a problem, they may or may not be able to deal with it or handle it. And their manufacturing source could change it. So that's why right now the only film, well, two films I'm recommending, and I don't know if you can source the DuPont anywhere, but DuPont has a film, and then Color Prime, which is DTF stations. And it's because I know where it's coming from. They bought their own, they manufacture their film. There's actually a video over on their YouTube channel. Vince is walking through showing their manufacturing facility as much as they can because there's proprietary stuff, but they are the manufacturer. So you're going to hear that a lot from me is I'm going to usually just recommend stuff where I can source it back to the manufacturer so you as the end user don't get stuck with, like, maybe you were working with a smaller shop, or maybe the place you're buying from doesn't have that, or like ran out of stock and you need it. Like, that puts you in a tough position. I experienced that. I don't want to see that happen to you guys. So I'm going to recommend where it's coming from. Mike, did you tell him I sent you? I'm just kidding. Yeah, so I'm only going to recommend stuff that comes directly from a manufacturer, or that we can source it to a manufacturer. There are plenty of people that sell DuPont, so go find the DuPont. There are plenty of people that sell Ink Bank as Ink Bank. And if they want to divulge that it's actually Ink Bank and sell it to you, then go for it. But I know a lot of the reason why there's a lot of the white labeling is just trying to protect pricing, trying to seem like you have something that's better than what other people have. And quite frankly, it's not always necessarily better. Even though the M&R Quattro is revamped, most know the factory it comes out of, and NASDAR manufactures ink. Do you recommend it? So the M&R Quattro machines, I'm pretty sure based on the look of it, are manufactured by Enjoy Print. And Enjoy Print, as far as I can tell, also manufactures the Hydra from American Print and Supply, Blue Ridge Screen Printing or Products or whatever. Blue Ridge, their non-Mamaki printer is, as far as I can tell, an Enjoy Print. I'm pretty sure the hand-run printers are rebadged Enjoy Prints, but I can't know for sure. So as a whole, I like those machines. I don't have any experience with the NASDAR ink. I've seen some comparisons from other ink manufacturers I work with, because I work with more than a few ink manufacturers. But I've seen some comparisons, and they weren't like mind-blowingly better or worse. So I don't have an opinion on the NASDAR inks. Caldera Rip, I don't have a lot of experience playing with it. It is one of the few rips that can handle other colors like fluorescence. I've heard they can, but nobody's shouting from the rooftops that it's like insanely better or anything like that. So there's a shop that I'm working with, I'm talking with, and they're probably going to buy the M&R Quattro, but then they're going to buy a different ink set and use Neo Stampa. So that's my 2 cents on it. Yes, South Africa. That is a problem. So obviously, I try my best to give recommendations that work. That's the other reason I do DTF Station, is because they're global. However, I think you've mentioned, or somebody else in South Africa, I don't know if you have 2 different accounts, but somebody else in South Africa was mentioned they were having trouble finding a DTF Station dealer in South Africa. Confirmation they are Enjoy Print. Very good. Carl, do you print TCP over IP, or do you print using a PRN file? Very good. So, yeah. So sometimes that again, the whole white labeling thing is the kind of I understand why companies are doing it, but it's also very frustrating for end users. And I get that, like, because you just don't know necessarily what you're working with. And if that supplier has problems, then how do you address that or deal with it? So I have seen the contour nesting, and where, like, basically if you had like 2 shapes like this, everybody else nests like this, whereas they'll nest like this. So they do have some better nesting features that I've seen. However, that's like the only thing I've heard that they do any kind of better. And if you're doing that, you better be cutting with a machine, not by hand, because that would be insane. Interesting. I'll have to bug the team over there and find out how you can get consumables in South Africa. They sell the machine only. Really? Do me a favor, shoot me an email of who that dealer is, because I'd be intrigued to find out how they sell just the machine and not the ink, because that's what, like, DTF Station, like, they want their ink in it because they've got it profiled for it. All right. Yeah, interesting. Sweet. If I missed a question, shoot me an email. And I think I will. What? $450 a month. $450 a month. That's just for the nesting program, or is that like include the whole rip? Like the rip and everything is $450 a month? I mean, even so, that's still crazy. Well, maybe not crazy. It depends on how much you're doing, right? How much film you're saving. If you're saving yourself $400 of film by nesting it, then it's worth it, right? Anyway, I don't know about that. The cutting feature, I know I haven't talked about it much because I don't have a cutter, but I was getting a chance to demo the cutting functions on Neostampa, and they're pretty rad actually. But if you guys have DTF Station, their cutter, that's integrated now really, really well with Neostampa, and it's a pretty cool little function. But $450 a month. Monthly subscriptions are painful. I will give you that. But anyway, all right. I think I'm going to call it for the week. That was fun. Okay, cool. Nice to know you guys have the same. That is a fantastic emoji. That is a fantastic emoji. Okay, you guys all had the same reaction as me. It's nice to know that my reaction is similar to your guys' reaction. So that's good. That's good to know. So if I freak out about something, you're probably going to freak out about it too. So good litmus test to know. Yeah, so fun live stream this week. Definitely by far the most viewers because we had everybody on trying to find out who was going to win. But next week I think is going to be a fun one. I'm going to have the special guest on. I've almost said his name a couple times. I don't know. Maybe I'll say his name later. I don't know. But yeah, special guest who says I'm wrong, and he's going to show you guys why I'm wrong and he's right. And hopefully it'll be helpful for you guys. Oh, weren't you watching? You were probably doing other work because you have a job and a life. Matt Tareba from Port St. Lucie, Florida. That's who won. So I'm going to be shooting him an email here in just a bit. Actually, probably Facebook message because I do know him. At first, I was like, I don't know who that is. And then I was like, holy cow, I do know. So perfect. So next week, come watch somebody prove me wrong. All right. So I love it. Love it. Love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Have a great rest of your week. And we'll be back here. Same bat time, same bat channel. See you guys next week. Bye. Oh, and I'm not going anywhere this week. I'm going to stay home. I'm going to actually do some work on my machine. It's going to be glorious. What is that? You guys couldn't see my shop monkey. Sad live stream. No. JR. Oh, no. JR. Who's JR? Referencing my wife? Is that what we're doing? She'd be RP. Rachel Pales. No, she's not going to be the special guest. Yeah, right. That would be funny, though. The special guest on my live stream is my wife telling me I'm wrong about DTF and all the other things that I do wrong. Like I don't put the dishes in the dishwasher correctly or something like that, right? All right. I'll see you guys next week. Have a great week. Appreciate you. Bye. Congratulations, Matt.